All right, here we are back again. It is week 8 of THL's 18th season, and we are excited to bring you yet another episode of Hearthcenter. We got a fantastic crew tonight. It is the triumphant return of our Wild Guru and Around the Saloon champion as of just last night. How does it feel, Marty?
Feels good. It's good to get away from all that toxicity last night and feeling some good vibes here. Pretty happy about it. So, how are you doing, Ron?
I'm doing great, man. Had a nice little break week, and excited to jump back into all things THL that we saw last week. Uh, Up next, we have to my top right. It is frequent collaborator with us and mastermind of multiple things THL tournament related. It is the one and only Desharmo. How you doing, Desharmo?
Doing great, man. Sporting my Dad Legend shirt today,
Nice.
and my tattoo that I showed last time is pretty much all healed up. So I
Nice.
like it.
Hey, you love to see it.
Yep.
Awesome. And finally, to my bottom right, stepping in place of Dr. Lotus Knight, and always welcome here on Hearth Center. It is also the man responsible for Marty B's victory with the last minute tiebreaker donation. Welcome, Cord, and how you doing?
Doing well, man. Doing really well. Yeah, I had to get in there. Felt like Marty got done dirty that round, so I had to help him out and finally give him that big W.
Yeah, and
Appreciate
I
it,
mean,
Gordon.
even better, it all goes to a great cause, of course. You know, we all month are supporting Pride, and donations go to the Trevor Project, and just everything that you can do out there watching or otherwise. Donate, help us, support a good cause, and help our community members is much appreciated, and does not go unnoticed. So, double bonus there, right? Get Marty a win, donate to a good cause, everybody wins. Except Itachi, but he already won before.
That was revenge. That was revenge.
Yeah, that
That was
too.
like the sweet. I helped Marty and got my revenge. I couldn't ask for a better situation.
It's a beautiful moment. Absolutely. So, without further ado, let's jump into our breakdown of our players of the week. We are going to start off, as we frequently do, with the Hero series. Corridon, can you tell me who was the player of the week for Hero?
I can tell you that. Player of the week for Hero this week was none other than fellow Canadian Diamond. So, Diamond subbing in halfway through a season is no easy feat. You could be feeling disconnected, thrown into an already established team, constantly trying to dig your heels in and fight for solid foundation. Well, after a few weeks of struggles, Diamond finally found that foundation, giving Dabs on him a solid footing to take the week over F2L Black. Great job on finding that first elusive win, Diamond.
Yeah, that is awesome. Diamond, friend of Hearth Center. He's been on the show as a host a few times as well. You love to see him pick up that player of the week. Congratulations to him. On to the next one. We have Legacy. And Desharmo, can you tell me who is our Legacy player of the week?
Yes. Let me pull it up real. I'm just kidding. Uh, always just in time. With playoffs just around the corner, each and every point obtained could have a huge impact. After clawing back from an 0-2 game score, Tonk found themselves down 10-11 on the week with one match remaining. Tonk called on Captain Punctual himself, always just in time. Justin took an extremely close but well fought 3-2 over Easy Bait, catapulting Tonk to a victory and grabbing some much needed points in the closing weeks of the season. 1 week remains, and Tonk is just on the cusp of the playoffs. Will always just in time become always coming in clutch, or will it have always been a dream for Tonk?
Oh, nice. I like it. Yeah, I mean, definitely any like big win with playoff implications helps tremendously to get you in there for players of the week. So congrats to Justin there. Next up, we've got our Wild player of the week. Marty, talk to me about our player of the week for Wild.
And this one's a personal one for me because turns out not everyone is a winner, but sometimes one person is always the winner. That person is Get Me Out, who improved to 8-0 on the season with a 3-2 win over Sunday, overcoming unfavorable matchups. Control lineup versus a combo lineup, actually. Very difficult. To keep his perfect season intact and become the last remaining undefeated player in Wild. The win was also the decider in a tight match between the top two teams in the series, with F2L coming out on top 16-12 to stay at perfect 8-0 as well.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, talk about an incredible season for Getting Me Out. Probably could have been Player of the Week every week so far, but definitely, earning that spot and putting F2L in a very, very enviable position as the team to beat this season in Wild. Congratulations to him. Last up, we have our Pro Player of the Week, and I will go ahead and read off this one. So for Pro, playoffs are just around the corner, and with the season on the line, Goose stepped up big for Gru Process, taking a 3-1 victory over a tough opponent in Lotus Knight. This gave Gru Process some much needed points to stay in that coveted fourth spot in the playoff picture, with Faction chasing them down in the final week. It also denied Brushy Tuna, those terrible scrubs who even sports them anyway, a few more points that they could have used to extend the lead they currently have. Bring it home in the final week, Gru. You can Gru it. I don't know who wrote that one, but I'm gonna guess it was Dr. Bomb D. Oh
Oh,
wait,
that
no.
was me.
Oh, that was
Oh,
you.
that was
That's right.
me.
Yeah, you wrote all of that.
You fooled all of us. I was just
You're
gonna assume
yeah,
that
you're
was
you're pulling
BOMD
off a
all the way.
good Bomb D impression there with that Corridon. Nice.
Yeah,
But
that's
there you
great.
go. Congratulations to Goose. Congratulations to all of our players of the week. As we now are going to move on to our next segment here, where we're going to talk about a little bit that happened. Uh, it wasn't. No, it was the weekend actually. Yeah, it was Sunday. Sunday we had a big standard tournament, and it was in support of THL Pride. Let's get that up on the screen here. We had Mr. Python, the I guess the guy who just always wins all of the THL tournaments lately that we're holding, or comes in like top 2 or top 4 at worst. But Mr. Python dominant once again, always just in time, coming in second place, and Azonix taking a third place. And all of these did have monetary prizes. It was a very fun tournament to cast. I got to cast that alongside Dollar Bills with Lotus doing the opping, and it was just we had a blast. If you have a chance to watch the VOD, if you didn't get to catch it, there's some great moments in there, and of course, all going to a very good cause as we're gathering these donations and supporting the Trevor Project all month long. Any comments from anyone uh, relating to the THL Pride Standard Tournament? Anything unusual or interesting you feel like you saw from the brings? For me, it was pretty much like the standard expected stuff. Although
Yeah,
Mr. Python maybe had one of the more spicy ones with just like the hard control lineup.
I didn't see too much out of the ordinary. Diamond did have Celestial Druid, and I guess Celestial
True,
Druid is a little
yeah,
bit
true,
of a
Diamond. We can vouch for that. Yeah,
yeah,
Celestial
it's a
Druid.
little bit of a left field
He did
pick,
he did
but
go 0-3 on the Druid though. With the
yeah,
first round exit. So,
yeah.
ta
I think
take that as you will.
the tournament show of shifting going on with this mini set this time around.
Yeah, I can see that. But just one more time, I know we mentioned it on the stream on Sunday, but just big congratulations to Mr. Python, to Justin, to Zonix, and thank you so much for everyone who participated and watched. Always, a fun thing to do when we can get a community tournament together, and especially when we're supporting other community members as well. With that, any more things to say on the Pride tournament before we move on to our recap of the series themselves, starting with Hero?
I want to shout out Roadrunner. I know it's tough getting a fourth, but just shout out to Roadrunner too for hanging in there and getting a fourth place in a very very strong top three. So
Yeah, absolutely. Roadrunner, took one game off Mr. Python, and I mean,
Yeah.
when you lose to the eventual winner, you can't feel too bad about it. Yeah, well said. All right, with that, let's jump into our hero recap. And we are starting off. It is NPH up at the top. No pros here, holding a very strong first place, with Dad Legend coming right behind them in second. Uh, they've finally gotten up on the screen consistently with that logo. But this seems to be the season of no pros here again. They almost always, make playoffs and dominate regular season. Last season they didn't. They had to prove it was a total fluke because they were out here just crushing everybody. Um, as far as the rest, if the playoffs started today, we have no pros here. Dad Legend Blast, Wherever I May Roam, Vote of Some Confidence, and Ask HS would be your current playoff teams as this race heats up with just a few more weeks to go. Let's start off with our recap of the first highlighted match, though. And Desharmo, take me through this one. 1337 squad versus Inferno THL, a 16-10. Pretty important win for 1337. They're just barely out of playoff contention now.
Yeah, 3-4-1. I mean, that tie again coming in clutch the wrong way. I always bash ties, but I think it's really important to try to get that one extra point, try to to win the weekend. I think it might.
I mean, the team they tied is literally like 1 point ahead of them too.
True, yeah. So, but I think this is good on them. They picked up a much needed win. I don't think it's Inferno THL struggling a little bit, and I don't think it was anything. The word. I'm at a loss of words here, but nothing fancy, nothing unexpected. There we go. I think you look across the board and you can say, hey, most of these matches were what they thought they were. So good on 1337 squad. They started off very rough, and now they're picking up steam. So maybe they have a chance to make the playoffs, and they're right there on the cusp.
Yeah, important thing to mention maybe Turtle started very, very rough in Hero basically all season, but then a new card came out called Kresh, which happens to be a turtle. And ever since that card, Turtle hasn't lost. So I don't know. Maybe this is a sign of things to come. Keep an eye out for a 1337 squad. They could be the dark horse. With that, though, let's move on to. Oh, did you have something else to say on this one?
I was just gonna say, in all the matches played, 1337 squad got the win. So
yeah, could have been even more of a blowout, but as I understand it, there was a last-minute sub situation. Nine Eyebrows, I think, fell asleep and was just like exhausted from like a long weekend and couldn't quite make it in time and wound up having a DQ, which is unfortunate, but 1337 squad still kind of weathered that misfortune and took some good points there. So we'll move on to the next one, and that is Dad Legend versus Ask HS. And Corden, I got to come to you on this one here. Huge win for Dad Legend, 17-6. Ask HS was right there in contention for that, higher up playoff spot. And I mean, what better way to try to cement your status for playoffs than get a bunch of points and deny a lot of points for a contender of an opponent?
Yeah, it was a huge win for us. There's no kind of way to put it other. I mean, 2, 4, and 5 getting sweeps is insane. I was able to pull a very close battle over Doc. It was a late night battle. It was the first one. I think we went till about 1 a.m. So it was a late night battle for us. And then Mr. Python, as Starlax, to his dismay and his fought, Mr. Python did take that 3-1 victory and getting Ask HS some much needed points. But I mean, this has huge playoffs implications because if Ask HS were able to even get, 1 point or 2 points off of anything, um, it would be a completely different picture right now for them. But now they're sitting with 1337, as we just talked about them, 1 point behind. So it's anybody's match right now. It's anybody's playoff spot. So it was a tough loss for Ask HS. For us in Dad Legend, it was a nicer one because it solidified us up to a 2 seed a little bit better. I don't know if we have a chance of catching NPH. I really don't think we do. So um, all around, I mean, there were some hard fought matchups, and I really can't say much more of it. I mean, I think the scores speak a lot to the way that the matches were played.
Yeah, absolutely. Big win for Dad Legend coming at the right time. You definitely want to heat up when it's getting close to playoffs and they're doing everything they need to do. So, Dad Legend in very good position. We've got one other highlighted match to talk about, and it is for our most dominant team. No pros here taking also just incredibly impressive win here, 16-6 over Tan Pams. In the interest of sparing Desharmo from having to run through this, Marty B, can you talk to me a little bit about this one here and why have we been lied to? No pros here. It's right there in the title, and yet America's Grandmaster Monsanto coming in to play against our co-host Desharmo here and taking that 3-1. I mean, that's not fair. There's clearly pros here. What's going on?
Yeah, I gotta say, Pasca, this is cheating. I think Tampams has an argument here to flip the results of this match. No, you're lying with
DQ
your
him.
own team name. Okay. No pros here? No, Monsanto is right there. Okay. That should be a 3-0 DQ in favor of Ducharmo, and that flips this match entirely. Tanpam
Well,
still loses, unfortunately,
I,
but
I will say
Ducharmo
that.
gets the win, and that's the most important thing.
Well,
I got
I
your
will
back.
tell you this. Even though it's 3-1, it was a very close match. I was one uh, good draw from actually. It was just a bad draw on one game. I was playing Prime Druid, and so even though it looks 3-1, it was really close. I actually like to thank Pascal. It sort of proved to me that my ability level where I thought they were because I was staying toe to toe with him most of the match.
Well,
So
um,
I appreciate it, and I would love to do this again. To be honest,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
So, in the interest of time, I'm just going to sum this up really quickly. I think this really hurt Tanpam's chances of making playoffs. I think they have a very difficult week up ahead, or a week or two, because they have about 2 weeks left, I think. And this really sets things back now. So if they want to turn things around, they're going to probably have to do a sweep themselves. No pros here though. Way ahead in first. I don't see them falling. Look to them as the favorites for or when playoffs start.
Yeah, absolutely. Tanpams, I mean, they still have a shot. I think I've seen them like on the outskirts of playoffs before, and then they came in with a vengeance and started doing really well and made playoffs. So with a roster like this, there's always a shot, but this definitely hurts the chances quite a bit,
yeah,
and they're going to need to catch fire and real fast.
yeah. I mean, I see a 6-5 team making in the playoffs. It's very possible. But Tan Pams would have to win out basically to really get there.
Yeah. So that is it for the Hero Series as far as matches played and standings. But now it is everyone's favorite time to spam rigged as we look at our updated Week 8 Hero PPR. Let's get it up here on the screen. And we have who else? Mr. Python in the number one spot at 7-1. Based Ink at 6-2 in the number 2. Yellow Dart doing really strong this season at number 3 at 6-2. Your Mumked out here getting scammed. 2 players ahead of him with 1 more loss and 1 less win. But your Mumked in the number 4 at 7-1. Ufric at number 5 at 6-1. Vino Spumoni 6-2. Lotus Knight 6-2. Our very own guest tonight, Corridon, in the number 8 spot at 6-2. Congratulations, buddy. Number 9, we got Skirt Reynolds at 6-2, and Isocles rounding out that top 10 at 5-2. On to our honorable mentions. We have Molestar at 5-3. Looks like my check to Donde did clear, but I must not have written him quite enough, as I am there in the second spot for honorable mentions at 5-2. Yfair at 5-2. Agent PWE at 5-2, and Disco at 5-3. I see a lot of NPH names on this list. No surprise, they are 7-1.
Yeah, there's NPH, there's Dad Legend up there, and as well as like Mr. Python base, and your mom. I mean, your mom kid is NPH, but Mr. Python for Ask HS has just been super dominant. So I'm no surprise to see him in the #1 spot there.
Oh yeah. I've been really impressed by your Mumket, honestly, for multiple seasons now. He just constantly seems to be up there. Um, and then, we've got 3 one-loss players right now in Python, your Mumket, and Ufric, who are all playing just absolutely outstanding. It's currently a race, I think, for crossover player between Mr. Python, Base Inc., and Neji Boston right now, too. Neji's only being held back by Hero primarily, but good to see our crossover contenders up at 1-2, and just a really stacked field. Any comments, other things before we move past Hero PPR and move on to Wild?
I think
Move
we're
on.
ready.
Sweet. So let's get it up here then. We are on to Marty B's Stats Corner. We've cut down on the meta segment a little bit just to save a little bit more time. But Marty, talk to me in brief about what we're seeing in the wild meta right now.
All right. Well, we had a mini set, but not a lot changed. Okay, we're still seeing a lot of the same brings. Uh, there was a few new ones. Linecrack was brought back. There were a few Togwaggle druids. Okay, these are the alignment Togwaggle builds, experimenting with Lady Anacondra. There's also Inner Fire Priest. 2 people on the same team brought Inner Fire Priest, and there was an Elucia Priest. Okay, just like the standard version of last season, except you ran Elucia and 2 rats. The one that you really want to talk about, we're gonna ignore Giant Shaman because that's more of a fun deck than anything. The one we want to talk about is Stealer Warlock. Okay, Stealer Warlock was the big deck from this mini set, and people made a big deal about it. And it's kind of game breaking in a way because they use BG's exploits sometimes for it. But anyways, turns out the deck sucks, and it did really poorly in THL too. So you probably don't want to bring it. Itachi was saying last night that it is influencing the meta. No, it's not, because it's disappearing because it sucks by itself. And that's why you lost last night. Partially because of Corden, but mostly because of that.
Oh
And there
man,
you have it.
firing those shots with Itachi nowhere around to answer. Marty B flexing his presence. Good
Created a
stuff.
monster.
Oh, that's amazing. So thank you very much, Marty. With that, we'll move on to our recap of what we saw last week in the Wild Series. And once again, as we've been seeing almost all season long, we have the same top 2. And F2L Viridian now has a stranglehold on the first place spot. I don't think it's uh, really even all that possible that they could possibly lose this in the final weeks of the season. But F2L Viridian just absolutely dominant right now. And we've got, yeah, this didn't update for me. Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah, these matches,
That's
I'll
fine.
try to get that updated
Okay.
here in just a moment. But
Which one do you want
actually,
to talk about?
Marty, do you want to start with just going over the wild standings while I quickly update these old matches to the new matches?
Yeah, sure. So, this is just like Euro, and the top 6 teams make it. Top 2 teams will get a bye. The first and second place teams played each other. That's why there was a bit of a falter and everyone's a winner. Okay. But expect them to put a bit more of a gap between them and third place. Nothing can stop us, and the Pog merchants are doing well. As everyone's a winner. So I think everyone's a winner will be able to seal it. Outside of that, it's a battle for 6th place, the final playoff spot. And that's between Hair Club and an Oil Team. An Oil Team has had a bit of an easier schedule so far. Not too much easier, but just enough. So they may falter. Um, it really is going to give Hair Club an opportunity to get ahead and back into the playoff picture. So keep an eye on that.
Do you see any
Mad
shot for
Scientist,
Mad Scientists or Wild THL Fanatics, or is it too much of a point gap to overcome?
Wild THL Fanatics has a very difficult week up ahead, or next few weeks up ahead, because their schedule has been one of the easiest, actually the easiest in the season so far. So they're gonna really have to show what they're made of if they want to make it. Mad Scientist has a chance because they've had a harder schedule, but it's still a bit of a reach given how far back they are from sixth place.
Fair. All right, and thank you for that rundown. I should have the correct last week matches up on there now. Apologies, it did not update like I thought it did when I processed that, but it is fixed now. Our first highlight match, F12 Viridian versus Everyone's a Winner. Marty, we got to talk about this one first. This is the Battle of the Titans, the championship preview. If the I guess if like the brackets line up the way that we kind of expect that they would. Otherwise, it's just kind of whoever wins this in playoffs seems to be the team that's going to take it down with the power that these teams are showing. And F2L just staying undefeated. Talk to me about this one.
Yeah, this is about as evenly matched as it gets. I'm just gonna say the results speak for themselves. This is an incredibly close match. This could have gone either way. I'm not gonna take anything away from everyone's a winner. I think they're the most capable team outside of F2L for getting the championship. Really, this is the one week that all of us, all 10 of us, look forward to because we love the high intensity competition that this week brings. Okay, and we're looking forward to seeing each other in the playoffs again because that's the kind of intensity we want to see.
Yeah,
Now,
all those 5 game series, and then the one sweep went the other way to the team that lost. So yeah, highly
yeah,
competitive.
Taggart just has Corbett's number. What can I say? Otherwise, the results speak for themselves. It's incredibly close. This is just a coin flip every single time. And, because 6J works on the sheets with me, and I talk with Sunday all the time too. So I know a good amount of those guys on the other team. They know us. We all talk to each other. We all prep together. So it's extra exciting when we get to face each other and really duke it out.
Nice. Yeah, and you love to see a close match like a 16-12. So, I mean, we don't need to say too much more about these two teams. In some ways, this match was, you could even say it's a little bit not that relevant because, what matters at the end is playoffs, and we know both of these teams are making playoffs. Maybe mentally it might give an edge into the playoffs, but we'll see. With that, let's move on to the next match. And I mean, basically, if you tie, we're probably going to put you up on as highlighted match because it is ridiculous how many ties we've had this season. This is completely the season of ties. Once again, it's a tie. Mad Scientists, Crab Riders, 13-13. Mad Scientists have tied an outstanding 3 times this season. Marty, what's happening?
Man, mad scientists, I don't know. It's just they gotta finish, and it seems like they're always 1 point off. And I feel like that's really killing them in the standings, as we see they're out of the playoff picture just a little bit. And if they keep going with these ties, especially against these teams below them, they're gonna have a hard time seeing themselves in the playoffs. Their records are perfectly fine. 4-4 and 3 seeds. It's pretty respectable, but it's just not enough to get into playoffs in this kind of series. They got to step it up. They got to do better. Now, on the Crab Rider side, Dr. Fish stepping in for Doc McButt. He got the win. That was huge. I think that's the reason why Crab Riders was able to tie it. Fish stepping in and reading his opponents so well, getting that 3-1 win for them. And finally, Crab Riders breaks their skid.
Yeah, got that first win of the season. Gotta feel good. Or well, I guess not first win, but they had a 1 win before, but stopped with the losing streak after that win. Yeah. But Dr. Fish coming in with that really strong win as a sub. That's way to go, Fish. Our content extraordinaire, who seems to be present in almost every like THL stream or otherwise, and flexing his wild muscles here. Way to go. With that, let's move on to the final match of Wild that we're highlighting for this week, and it is Mancrick's Revenge versus Anoyo Team. And Marty, as you were mentioning, Anoyo Team is right in that, outskirts of playoff contention. They're basically just right there, and this is a huge win for them over Mancrick's Revenge, a team that has more points in the standings right now. Break this match down for me.
Yeah, so this kind of match, they're going to need more of these in the upcoming weeks. This is the first of many upcoming matches where they're facing a higher seeded team in the upcoming weeks. They're actually facing F2 Viridian, my team, this week. So it'll be interesting to see how they can compete with us and if they can get enough points to stay in the playoff race. But if they falter, I don't know, it's not looking good. They're going to have to get those double here on out. And this is a good start, especially with people like Doohan over Oddlaw. Oddlaw has been having a bit of a mixed season, but he brings some unusual decisions, and seeing Doohan getting those wins despite the unpredictability and volatility of Oddlaw is good. Bone Masher also improving to 4-4. Same with Mad at Arms. You really want to see that from your players. And it's me, Mike V, struggling a little bit, but he went to 5 games, so not too bad.
Yeah, I think we're looking at two additional just very strong playoff contenders, most likely playoff teams. But as you mentioned before, just one little slip up and it opens the door for Hair Club to jump a Noyo team, as we're kind of in that battle for six, like you mentioned. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Mad Scientist stops tying and they go on a crazy tear and they steal a spot. But otherwise, a Noyo team needs to really hang on to every point that they can get. So, going to be a real tough one coming up that they may talk about on our preview show, of course, tomorrow night. Any other things to say about the wild matches before we move on to, uh, the rigged section where we talk about PPR?
I'm ready for the rigged section.
All
Just give it to
right,
me.
here we go. Let's see what the most rigged stuff is now. Number one, we've got Battle Tagger, 7-1. I mean, I'm already. Donde, why? How did he pay you so much? Not to take anything away from Battle Tagger, but Get Me Out is sitting there at 8-0, undefeated in the number two spot. Memnarch at number three, 7-1. PCDS coming in at 7-1 in the number four spot. We have Pace at 6-2. No Way at 6-2. Corbett at 7-1, somehow all the way down at seventh. Neji Boston at 6-2. Quake Lord at 5-3, and rounding out that top 10. Hey, it finally worked, Marty. He listened. You're there. Number 10, Marty B. Let's go, 6-2. And then our honorable mentions, we have Absolute at 5-3, Sunday at 6-2, An Awful Artist at 5-3, Maxi Bond at 5-3, and Tom Carter rounding out those honorable mentions at 5-2. So yeah, I mean, naturally, Marty, your first inclination is, why am I not higher?
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, just looking at this is all one seeds. Everyone's a winner players and F2L players, with a few exceptions.
Sounds about right.
And I think those few exceptions that aren't the one seeds or players in those teams, those are the guys you're gonna have to watch out for the rest of this season and next season. So guys like Tom Carter and Maxi, or Maxi's a one seed actually. Guys like Tom Carter and An Awful Artist, keep an eye on them.
Yeah, a lot of really strong players. Also, Maxi Bond was someone who was dominant last season too, correct? Right on the
Yes.
outskirts of honorable mentions. So yeah, I mean, just as we see almost always with any of our PPRs, all of these players are having incredible seasons, very strong players, and it's always nice to see your name on this list. If you haven't found your way onto this list, just blame Donde. If you're not higher on this list, just blame Donde. And if you are on this list, well, congratulations to you, and far be it from us to say that it's actually rigged and you didn't earn it. You definitely earned it. Rigged is all in fun, as we talk about where we are right now. We've got just a few weeks left to cement your place, as the series is winding to a close very soon, so congrats to these players once again. Any other things to say about the Wild Series before we move on to our next one?
I think that wraps it up. Let's keep
All
going.
right. So, real quick, we're going to bounce over to the caster screen. We've got a rapid fire commercial for you, as always, to make sure we remind you to help support our streams. Let's dive into it. Hey there, Twitch viewers. If you've subscribed to Team Hearth Legends yet, no, then make today the day to be a legend yourself and subscribe to our channel. This subscription will enable the THL team to help cover their various costs for operating our website, as well as improve the quality of our streams and content to our viewers. If you have Amazon Prime or Twitch Prime, you can actually subscribe to this channel for free. Subscribers will get a THL emoticon as well as the lovely THL chat badge. So hit that heart button and keep the notifications on to make sure you catch our team broadcasting live. We appreciate each and every one of you. Special note to our viewers, check out THL's other social media points of interest, our website, teamheartlegends.com. Follow us on Twitter at THL_HS. Join us on Discord at Team Hearth Legends. Check out the THL POW podcast for Power Ranking Royal Series, wherever you find your podcasts. The true Hearth Legends himself, Saku, continues to post all of our videos on our YouTube channel. Just search Team Hearth Legends to catch everything previously recorded. You are, of course, watching us on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Team Hearth Legends, or possibly on our YouTube channel in the future. And for all you THL fanatics out there, we have THL shows occasionally. Every single day of the week. You can't go wrong tuning in at any time for some amazing Hearthstone-related content. Now back to the good part, which would be Legacy. Legacy Gold. Let's jump straight into that. All
And
right.
we're gonna skip my spider fingers on cam.
Yeah, no need to mention Marty's spider fingers. Um, so, Gold Conference Legacy, would you look at that? It is Defias Brotherhood dominant in Legacy Series right now. Their total points might not be quite as impressive looking, but only because they've had that bye already and a Noyo team has not. So they're putting up 17.14 points per week, head and shoulders above the rest of the field. Coming in second right behind them with 15.97 is Chaos Theory. Those are your top two. And if the playoffs were to start today, we would have a Noyo team, Defias Brotherhood, Chaos Theory, and Hot Zilfs. But they do not, in fact, start today. We have one final week to be played, and a Noyo team is on a bye this week, which means they will be desperately hoping that they can hang on to that spot, while the teams that are just outside of contention, Do You Even Tonk and Meme Dream Team, I'd say Orcs and Smorks has a extremely outside chance of making it, and DeStubbs I'm pretty sure is out, but I haven't done the math because math is hard. But yeah, this playoff picture almost completely cemented here. Let's start with some of our recaps here. Hot Zilfs getting a really big win to lead things off. Desharmo, talk to me about Hot Zilfs versus a Noyo team here. Battle of likely playoff teams, and Zilfs getting a very important victory to try to make sure they punch their ticket.
Is this an old match?
Yeah,
I
this
didn't.
looks old.
Oh crap! Is it really?
Yeah.
Is this
This
4-1 and 3-3?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought
Yeah,
Lotus did it.
seems like we're having a little bit of
Yeah, scuffed
technical.
stream then. My bad, guys. I thought that was
It's fine.
updated. Okay, so
Good thing I caught that because I would
yeah,
have started going through the match and then.
that is
That's
not in
fine.
fact what just happened. Um, I was were we still highlighting a Noyo team? I'm not even sure. Let's see. The Zilfs
Right.
played the Stubs and actually they lost 15-10. So it is the reverse situation of what I was describing too, where no, they did not get a big win right before playoffs to try to get closer to winning. They did the opposite. They lost. Blame Donde. Uh, I
Yep.
don't think I have any updated ones on gold then. Red might be up to date. So let's flip to red and see if we can come back to gold. Um, standard THL degenerates versus flame pimps.
That
Yeah.
is
This is
that,
this week.
That was
that is this
updated.
week.
Okay.
Yeah.
So gold is not updated. While I work on that in the background to get gold back to you, let's start with red. We've got Dad Legend strong performance throughout this season, holding the top spot. Standard THL degenerates barely losing that tiebreaker in other factors besides points per week for that number 2 spot. And once again, as we mentioned before, for gold, if the playoffs started today, we have the other top teams, Bank Yugi Fan Club and Fish. Illidan's Death Knights just barely out of contention, and we've got Flame Pimps pretty close as well. But let's start with this one. So back to you then, Desharmo. Actually,
Yes.
do
I
you
can
want
do
to
both
talk
of these if
Dad
you want.
Legend instead? I can have you do Dad Legend.
Okay.
Let's go with Corridon here. Corridon, talk to me about standard THL degenerates versus Flame Pimps. Can it get more important than that? We got a team that is that's been like killing it in red most of the season in Flame Pimps that got almost completely blanked, and standard THL degenerates just like lighting the world on fire here as they just blaze their way to uh, basically first place. You know, they're tied for first place in points per week and technically behind Dad Legend, but they're almost there.
Yeah, we're close. I mean, it was a crazy start to the week. I know we had a lot of hiccups going forward. Mr. Python had a sub that came in, and then the sub got subbed out for Language Hacker. I mean, Language Hacker couldn't make it, so then the sub got back in. Unfortunately, it was a DQ in that one seat, so that 3-0 there, it was a DQ win, which is unfortunate to see, but a little bit of a hiccup in that spot. But running down the rest of it. Um, I yeah, automated button was our last game of the week, and he really was motivated because with Mr. Python not changing PR, Button really wanted to take that number 1 seat back from Mr. Python. He's been chasing him the whole time, so automated button definitely put it on and took that 3-0 win over Icer, which is no small feat in that whatsoever. Electric Sheep City has been on fire this legacy season. He has been surprising. I think all of the team and pretty much all of THL right now. 6-1. He has, I think, been pretty much under PR'd in most of his matches. And he is, he's actually chasing down second and first seed right now, taking a big 3-1 win over Goose, who was actually our pro player of the week. So no small feat there. Um, I came in against Boolean and I did not expect to take a 3-0. It does not look as quick and cut as it was. Um, any one of those games, it could have been a 3-0 towards Boolean to me. We came down to the wire and it was a really, really strong fought game in that sense. Um, and Quaz took Diddle to the absolute limit and finally got the 3-5 or the 3-2 victory. And yeah, we had a very dominant week. I think the biggest thing is not only did we have a dominant week, that we took a lot of points away from Flame Pimps here, who were really looking to substantiate themselves and grab some much needed points to stay in that 4th spot. So it made this week the last week that they have to grab uh, pretty much an absurd amount of points, or some very unfortunate matchups have to happen above them.
Yeah, from in very clear top of the conference contention to outside looking in. That is, just dreams crushed in a week. It's not over yet for Flame Pimps, but it is looking rough, especially for the team that was almost dominant all season through up to this point. So big victory for STD. And let's move on next to our second highlighted match of this week in red, and it is Dad Legend versus Bank Yugi Fan Club. So despite the loss, Dad Legend, holding a very strong lead on the conference, should have all but solidified, um, their playoff ticket. Is it actually
Oh,
impossible
we're
mathematically to overcome them? I
No,
think it is, right?
no,
no, they have a bye week.
no. We have a bye week this week, but
Yeah.
the
But
fish,
max
but
23 is what you can get in a week, right? So no
24.
one.
Oh, they're in
Yeah,
guaranteed
so they're
playoffs.
So,
Yes.
guaranteed.
so if Illidan's get 24, there's still 2 points below Dad Legend. So Dad Legend's in no matter what.
Yeah, so we have a playoff team in Dad Legend. Congratulations to Sharmo.
Uh, yeah, I wanted to ask you a question though. Was it intentional to cut off one team from conference?
Whoops, that went back to gold. Uh, what do you mean? Oh, is there not
Uh,
is there a team
yeah,
that's missing on there too?
you're missing Dirty Mike and the boys at the bottom there.
Just to be mean to DMB. No, honestly, it's just because I got a little scuffed this stream. I apologize, guys.
I
I
was
didn't
just
even
curious.
notice it was missing there.
I just wanted to I wanted to just give some Dirty Mike and the boys shout out.
Fair. One of the teams that has merch on the website and yet not even represented in the conference standings on Hearthcenter. For shame. DMB erasure.
Censure right there.
Exactly. But walk me through the match, Desharmo, between Dad Legend and Bank Yugi Fan Club here.
Yeah, this match came down to the wire. I started off with a 3-0, really good for Dad Legend, but then Bank Yugi Fan Club came up with 3-1 wins over oh no, wait, sorry, 2-3-1 wins over Blue Spartan and Haster. And then Zabe came back with a nice 3-2 over Cheese. And it was left up to we had Armumkid, but he had an emergency sub come in, and Heatshot came in, did his best, and got us a 1-3, which then gave Bank Yugi Fan Club the win. I mean, what this does show is that Dad Legend's not immortal. They're not, they're not the team that's gonna that can't lose. They can obviously lose. Even though Dad Legend's in the playoffs, it should be a good sign for other teams that might have to play Dad Legend to know that hey, it is possible to beat them. But with that being said, Dad Legend has had a strong season this entire season.
Yeah,
And
big congrats to Bank Yugi Fan Club there because
yeah,
they really needed all the points they could get, and
yes,
this is certainly a big victory heading into the final week to try to get one of
yeah,
those playoff spots. Only three remaining on the line here,
yeah,
so they
and
definitely did what they needed to do.
and this is really difficult because a lot of these teams under Dad Legend are playing each other. I don't want to go into it because that's a tavern talk thing, but you know, standard THL Degenerates is playing Fish and Bank Yuki is playing Flame Pimps. So
Oh, tune
this
into
win
Tavern
right here,
Talk tomorrow, yeah, to
yeah,
see all
this win
things previews.
this win from Bank Yuki Fan Club might be what they needed to get themselves into the playoffs. So
All right, so gold is fixed now as well. That is our look at red from last week. Let's jump back on over to gold. We already talked about the top teams. I think we're also missing a team, maybe, in standings there.
Yeah.
there should be
Who
9
who
teams
did we
in.
erase? Oh, we erased Hearthstone Academy. We're erasing the teams that have merch on the website.
and you're and you're erasing teams that have been around for like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
longest time.
No big deal. Get wrecked, HSA. Uh, as we let's talk about the matchups here. Do you even talk versus Meme Dream Team? This is massive for Do You Even Tonk here to take that victory over a contender too for that playoff spot. Tonk is now sitting in the number 5 spot for playoffs, and they've got that final week to go. So, Marty, talk to me, if you will, about this one. 14 to 13, really hard fought on both sides. Obviously, shows a lot about what was on the line for both teams. But do you even Tonk coming out on top?
Yeah, both of these teams are going to be looking at this week and think what could have been. Because really, I think this is going to be the make. We're going to look back and we're going to say this was the make or break week for which of these teams sneaks into playoffs. And it's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard for Meme Dream Team to, make make that meme go from dream to real. I don't know. Being 7 points out now from the final playoff spot, especially with an easier schedule so far, makes it difficult. It's just a really important week, and yeah, do you even talk? Just getting the job done.
Yeah. And interesting to see too that we've got both teams who lead the conference are the teams that are on bye this week. Not too surprising because, they've had more games than anyone else. But trying to hang on. Dad Legend, of course, already locked in. A Noyo team, just hoping that nobody passes them here, but they may have done enough. We will find out shortly as we, recap things and see who our playoff teams are next week. Um, but there's a possibility Tonk doesn't even make it either here because if it started today, they wouldn't. It's a Noyo team, Defias, Chaos, and Hot Zilfs. Uh, but they certainly did themselves some favors by beating Orcs at Smorks in that 15-13. So Corridon, talk to me about this one here. Pretty significant win for Anoyo. They had to have this to get every point possible to try to lock out playoffs.
Yeah, it was extremely important for them. I mean, they got every point they possibly could have. I mean, even Orcs at Smort trying to pull as many points away from them, and I guess they're not completely out of it, but trying to play a bit of a spoiler there because I think right now a Noyo team has the bye similar to Dad Legend and can actually miss playoffs completely if every team below them scores well enough this week. I know the team really doesn't have any chance to claim their own victory or their own fate in their
Yeah,
hands right now. They're kind of just letting it out to the rest of the team. So
cross your fingers and
um,
hope.
cross your fingers
Somebody's
and
gonna
hope.
slip up.
That's it. I mean,
And
you run through these lineups, you see like Neji Boston and Molestar clashing in the 1 seed, going to 3-2. NJO and Lotus Knight going to 3-2. I mean, those right there are four players that are insanely strong, sitting in, almost all 1 seeds, really. I mean, Lotus technically is, but NJO been playing extremely well, so strong right now, and getting that elusive that win over Lotus. Buse taking a good 3-1 over Karthus. Um, like Share Ape 3-2 over Mojo, and then Zund taking a 3-1 over Clarity. So
Zitunt.
Ztund, as close as you could cut it. I mean, other than getting a tie, obviously Anoya would have loved to pull any extra points. Maybe if Karthus could have pulled out an additional one, or if Molstar could have just gotten that last game. But taking the 15 points is pretty much as you can get in a close fought battle like this.
Yeah, and I just got to say, Nice Jewish Owl taking that 3-2 over Lotus Knight is so huge. Lotus having an
Yeah.
incredible season across all THL, except I guess Legacy, where he's not doing that great, but such a strong player and a really impressive win for NJO, who's having an incredible season as well. Might be enough for Anoyo. We will see. With that, let's move on to our
Um,
PPR. Oh, you had something to say?
yeah, yeah. If you can you go back one screen just super quick.
Yeah, back on gold.
I just want to point out that this is again not something that we talk about this week, but it is very. I want to just kind of hype up Tavern Talk a little bit here. It is very possible another team gets knocked out because the top four teams, Defias, Chaos, Hot Zilfs, and Du Tonk, are playing the bottom four teams.
Oh,
None of them are playing each other.
I did not realize that. Oh, that's crazy.
So yeah, so it's very possible that Noyo team could get knocked out of the
Yep.
playoffs.
Fingers crossed. I'm sure they'll have all that preview stuff for anyone interested on Tavern Talk tomorrow. But with that, on to more rigged stuff here. We've got PPR, and it is our number one player coming in at 6-1. It is Wild 9. Right behind him, we have a pair of undefeateds. Kotamora at 7-0 in our 2 spot. T Stew at 7-0 in our number 3 spot. Nice Jewish Owl coming in at number 4 at 6-1. Slod at 6-1 as well in the 5. We have Honest Zabe at 6-2. Neji Boston at 5-2. Electric Sheep City coming in at 6-1 in the number 8 spot. Coles at 5-2, and Agent PWE rounding out that top 10 at 5-1. Finally, honorable mentions. Zeroshio, you've been scammed so much. Clearly, yep. You just gotta pay more to Donde. It's the move. Jester 5-2, Zeroshio 6-1, Icer 5-2, Roofski 5-2, and your Mumkhead at 5-2. Congratulations to all of these players making their appearance. And for those of you who are lower than you wanted, I mean, help a good cause. Donate to Donde, and he will, roundabout donate to the Trevor Project. But any comments on this before we move on to our final series of the night?
I think this is our most spread out PPR that I've seen tonight so far. There's honestly sprinkles from every team and every seed as well. You know, I mean, Kotamora in the 5 seed, T Stew in the 1. So it's really awesome to see a hot spread like this, and not one dominant team like we saw maybe in Hero, things like that.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's a good point. It is definitely a bit more spread out. We've had some overperforming players on some teams that are struggling too, which is kind of cool just to see people get that appearance on the list. All right, so with that, let's head on back over to Marty B's Stats Corner as we take another brief look into the meta that we're looking at, this time for Pro. Marty, what are we looking at here in the Pro meta with archetypes lately?
So this is a bit weird because things kind of streamlined rather than open pro this week. We see, more Death Rattle Demon Hunter, which is expected. Everyone's been trying Death Rattle Demon Hunter on ladder. We see some Token and Clown Druid. Hunter is still just Face Hunter. We got rid of the Spell Damage Mage, finally. Okay, people are only playing Spell Mage in THL Pro Series now. Paladin is a bit all over the place. Some of those are carryovers and rollovers. But for the most part, these are older decks. Paladin didn't really get too much in the mini set. Priest is Priest. What can I say? It's the most popular class brought for a reason. And it's the same as always. Rogue. Okay. Miracle Rogue was the big winner this week. A little bit of secret. I expect that to maybe go up. Some weapon rogues. We'll see what happens there. And then Shaman was the main winner. Okay. So 14 aggro shamans. That was huge. We didn't really see aggro shaman before. 2 elemental shamans. Also huge. We don't really see that all that much. 2 evolved shamans. This was a big surprise. Okay. And then 3 control shamans. Warlock, there's a little bit of experimentation there with 3 Zoo Warlocks, all from the same team. Orange baited some of them. I'm not going to say who because I know them. And then for Warrior, lots of Control Warrior, though I don't know how long they will stick with Control Warrior instead of Rush Warrior.
Yeah, Rush Warrior is so strong right now and is starting to kind of feature some control elements, but Control Warrior definitely has, I think, a little bit of a place. Evolve Shaman seems totally not real.
Yeah.
There's just way better
Yeah.
Shaman to play.
Yeah. And to
And
be
props to
clear,
the mid-range DH out there. Like
yeah, to
I
be
fight the
clear,
good fight.
yeah, really. But like a lot of the things I'm saying here in predictions, they're also going based on what I've seen on ladder, where Control Warrior kind of tanked in win rate after the first day or two. So people tend to drop those classes pretty quickly. You look at ladder and then you come back to THL and you see kind of a similar flow. So I don't know how much Control Warrior there will be. I also don't know how much Zoo Warlock there will be, or how Aggro Shaman will do next week compared to this week. So
Oh,
just
you
keep that in
sure?
mind.
You sure we're not going to see 45 Zoo Warlock brings? I mean, I
I
guess.
mean,
But yeah, let's move on to our recap of the Pro Series. From the last week, we have Black Conference. What is this? It's Team Brushy Tuna up in the number 2 spot. Who needs to talk about Hype Horizon? They're always there. No, but seriously, big props to Hype Horizon. Number 1, once again. Brushy Tuna in that number 2 spot, and just barely behind we have Grew Process and Faction. Parlos Chicos is up there a little bit higher in points, but lower in points per week. They are on their
Ron,
bye this week.
I don't mean to interrupt, but we have to adjust the pro matches as well.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
scuff stream. My bad, guys.
Goft.
All right. Well, then in that case, Desharmo, run me through the Black Conference standings, which are, as far as I know, correct and up to date, and tell me a little bit about this playoff picture while I try to fix the actual highlighted matches here.
Yeah, is this the updated playoff picture here too?
Yeah, the standings are correct.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, yeah. So Hyper Horizon definitely the team here that that's going to be getting that 1 seed. I don't think anybody can really idealistically get closer to them. Um, I do like I like their odds are almost they're gonna get there. Brushy Tuna really good picking up that second spot. They have a scrub 5 seed that just cannot seem to get any wins for whatever reason. And but they're also looking very strong as well. I think if they can pull out a decent week this next week, I think they're pretty much a shoe in. Then we're looking at the next few spots. They're really close to a few teams, but right now Group Process and Faction are kind of holding those down. Para los Chicos is almost there. They're very, very close, and F2L Scarlet's still not out of it either. Um, uh, their points are a little bit lower than what you would think of a 4 and 3 seed. Their PPW is looking at just under 14, which is good. But when you lose, you still want to get some points, and I think that's what Brushy Tuna. They have the same exact record, but their point totals are significantly higher by I think if you look at it, it's 18 points. So um, I think that's something not to in this kind of team based effort. You really want to try to get wins. If I mean it's points, even if you're losing. So I think what we'll be wanting to look at is Badalos Chicos and F2L Scarlet, and maybe even Mancurse Multiple Wives at a chance to steal that fifth.
Yeah, there is a shot, but let's start off with our recap. They are updated on the screen now. Brushy Tuna versus Group Process. This one was super close, and I'm just gonna twist the knife a little bit for you, Desharmo. Talk to me about what happened here with Group
Really?
Process taking the victory over Brushy Tuna. Brushy Tuna hanging on with a pretty solid shot at playoffs, and Group Process really needed this one. And it was a big win to get that extra 3 for the victory as well to get closer to playoff contention.
Yeah, this was really close match. It came down to Lotus Knight versus Goose, and Lotus Knight needing just the 2 points to get the tie, and Goose coming in huge, just getting a 3-1 win to deny that tie opportunity. Uh, I think this is a great showing for a Group Process. I mean, I think they've been struggling a little bit the past couple of weeks, and they come in and they get a nice W versus a team that looks like they're going to be in the playoffs. So Group Process, I think if they can pull out another win this week, I think they might be in a good position. But looking down this match here, we got some solid wins from Goose, Bullion, and Rice Bowl. Um, Rice Bowl versus me, he really targeted Priest, and that really worked in his favor. And I think that's something that you might consider if you're trying to do something. And I think we had talked about this pre match here. You either target Priest or you ban Priest. So I think you're kind of seeing Group Process sort of not banning Priest here, and that target Priest seemed to work out in their favor.
Yeah, kind of kind of surprising sometimes. I mean, for the most part, Ban Priest has been the overwhelming play, but sometimes, it goes the opposite. Uh, Still, overall, I think things played out more in Group Process's favor, but very, very close one, and both teams easily in playoff contention. As we move on now to the next match here between Faction and Mancrick's Multiple Wives, and wow. I mean, Faction really needed a good deal of points to try to work their way into that playoff conversation, and they came through when it mattered. So, Corridon, talk to me about this one here. 17-8 is pretty impressive when we're heading towards, that final stretch of the season. Denying your opponent points, who could be a potential, competitor for playoffs, and also just racking up a ton themselves.
Yeah, Faction pretty much did exactly what they needed to do this week and got a huge amount of points. They also denied Mancrick's multiple wives a bunch of points themselves. In Faction has given themselves a little bit of a bumper room chasing that elusive 4 spot, 3 points behind Gru right now. So I think Faction had a tremendously strong week. You see 2 sweeps from Foggy over Lefty, and then you see Unlimited Power getting a sweep over MPV. So Very, very strong performance from those guys. Not to say Man Crick's multiple wives put everything they could. Harash and Wild Nine. Wild Nine is playing very strongly across all right now and getting the 2 points there. Jester being able to pull 2 points out too, and the lone victor is NJO over there, which I can only assume is a control warrior. And Flying Kraken didn't ban control warrior for NJO, so NJO's got to win that one, right? That's the way it goes. But
The word is out.
the word and the control warrior doesn't matter. LHS doesn't matter. He's gonna win if he gets it through. So faction looking very strong, and they did have a bit of an easier start so far. They've got a uphill battle, I think, going forward to get into that last fourth spot, but it's looking okay.
Yeah, it is still. I mean, there's enough time, I think, still to make it there. So they've done what they needed to do, and now just a little bit more, and they can punch that ticket to the playoffs. We're looking at these top four right now are very much in flux, and as Nice Jewish Owl mentioned in the comment as well, Parlos Chicos on a bye this week, so that 108 points, I don't think is going to be enough to hold that number three spot. If you look at points per week, that's the real indicator, and they're already a little bit more on the outside looking in. Any other things to say about Black Conference before we move on to Pink? All right, let's get over to Pink, which is up to date. Um, we have our same top two that we've been seeing for quite a bit lately. It is Shed Ape, no, Washed Tappers right there. Washed Tappers is our number one team. Sheepy's coming in at number two in points per week. And what's this? Our previously most dominant team in Pink Conference, Popeye's Spicy Chicken Sandwiches. They do have the most total points again. They're up there with 138, but their points per week are lower, and they're going to be on a bye, so they won't hang on to that highest point total for long. But if the playoffs started today, we would be seeing Popeyes, Wash Tappers, Sheepies, and Clownstone. And to be honest, I think that's probably what we're going to be seeing here because these four just have such a heavy, heavy lead on the rest of the competition. Our
Yeah,
next
it's
closest no pros here. Uh, I don't think they've got enough to get there.
yeah, they're like so get win one match win in their match next week. I think pretty much out. The Sheepies, Washed, and Popeyes are all but in, and just Clown and maybe no pros, and that's about it.
Popeyes is guaranteed, aren't they?
Yeah, that's Popeyes, Washed, and Sheepies are all in.
Yeah, so the final fight there, if there's a chance, it maybe starts with NPH beating Clownstone, which we will talk about in just a moment. But before we do, let's talk about the Battle of the Titans, Sheepies versus Wash Tappers. And Marty, you've already had a little bit of experience tonight talking about our Battle of the Titans in another series. Talk to me about this one here. It's the top two going at it, and it's just a slugfest here, a 1 point victory for the number two team this time rather than the number one.
Yeah. So, just looking at this, it really shows that, Popeye's spicy chicken sandwich wasn't necessarily able to get first place because it's the top team right now, as the points per week suggest, but because these two teams were playing each other. And so now we have Popeyes on a bye, and Watch Tappers and Sheepies, really showing how strong they are. A 1 point victory, especially in a low scoring match like this, shows how close it is. It's very much back and forth. We have two sweeps from Sheepy's side, by the way. So I'm a little concerned, if I'm being honest, from the Wash Tapper side. There's a little bit of faltering there, seeing two sweeps on their end. But points speak for themselves. They're still at the top.
Yeah, there you go. Big sweep from Cyan Sheepies, the team's namesake there. Another big sweep from Mikas over Heat Shock in the 5, which is super impressive. But Wash Tappers, a very strong team that is still putting up quite a bit of points, even in a loss. 12 is a pretty solid point total for a loss that you can get. And, you know, these two teams, they're going to be contenders in playoffs for sure. So teams to watch out for. As we move on to that next match, No Pros here versus Clownstone. Desharmo, is there any shot for No Pros here? Is it just too much for Clownstone?
I don't think so. I think that there. I mean, it's an outside chance they have to do well. But if you look at, I mean, I don't. Again, I'm kind of getting ahead here for our thing. We're talking playoffs. No Pros here is playing F2L Crimson, a team that struggled all season, and Clownstone is playing Wash Tappers. So it's unlikely, but it's
There's a
still
chance.
within the realm of possibility that Pros.
Yeah,
Can.
and it
We're
starts right here, right? So talk to me about these matches. The 12-11 victory, they got a super sub victory in there too from Just in Time.
Yes, and over a great player. I believe isn't it Celeste Luna like
Currently, rank 1
GM?
legend on America's. That's Kaelis Luna, who always Just
Jealous
in
Luna.
Time came in and beat.
And isn't he like on the verge of being a GM as well, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes, most likely as of right now going to be the next America's GM, I think, or at
Highly
least,
probable.
yeah.
Highly probable.
So yeah, so a huge win coming in clutch for always just in time. I don't think without that win, No Pros here has zero chance to make playoffs. So win from always just in time. Or Mumpkid, you see him do so well in the other series, playing in the 2 seed, and it just seems to be struggling a little bit here in the in Pro Series.
I mean, to be
I mean,
fair,
3 and 4
anybody can
is
struggle
not
against Nails. Nails is insane.
true, but being 3 and 4 in Pro is nothing to scoff at. So
True.
um, So yeah. Pick and then obviously Pasca struggling in the 5 seed, but it doesn't matter because the rest of his team still picked up the slack and picked up here. I think what might hurt No Pros here in the end is that they really needed points um, this week, and 12 points while in a win is good. I think they were needing some of those points off those losses.
Yeah.
I'd like to see the end of the season how that turns out. If the Wash Tappers beat Clownstone and No Pros here is only out by 1 or 2 points, that might have been a game changer. This
It'll be interesting to keep an eye on for sure. But it's also interesting just to see, Black Conference has a real race going on, and Pink Conference is all but kind of locked in, and just waiting for playoffs for most of these teams that are up at the top. For Aeon, for Hey Loser, for F2L Crimson, and Infinite Value, it looks to be one of those better luck next season situations. But hey, if you're like me, who is a Falcons fan, you can always say better luck next season. Although my team just traded Julio Jones. We don't need to dwell on that. Let's move on to Pro PPR as we conclude our show for tonight. Any final words on uh, Pro Series or the playoff race before we see what's rigged?
I just quickly wanted to touch on Clownstone because I know they had two perma subs come in halfway through the season, so it's really good to see them, be able to come in and mesh with the rest of the team. Very strong players in Shep and Super Chicken, so happy to see that they are maintaining a good spot and 95% chance of playoff run.
Yeah, that roster is nutty and didn't miss a beat there. So
No.
very well done by Neji to pick up those subs for sure. Uh, Players from the defending champs, I might add, in Super Chicken and German Shep, who
Yeah.
played for the boys last season and won the title. Um, so we'll see. Keep an eye on Clownstone. They're the number 4 team in playoffs, but that's good enough to make a run. With that, let's wrap it up with player power rankings. And these look suspiciously less rigged. We have 2 7-0 players at the top 1 and 2. It's McBanterface at number 1. It's MMW at number 2, both at 7-0. We have Wet Goose coming in at number 3 at 6-2. Ufric at 5-1. Liquidox 6-0, still undefeated, but in the 5 spot. Guess he should have played all of his matches. Fogey coming in at the number 6 at 5-2. Lotus Knight at 5-2. Pocket Train at 5-2. Goose at 5-2, and Gamer RVG rounding out that top 10 at 5-1. Then we have our honorable mentions. It is Azonix, who recently finished third place in the Standard Pride tournament, by the way, at 5-2. We have Based Inc. coming in at 5-2, Science Sheepies at 5-2, Neji Boston at 5-2, and X Kume also at 5-2. Congratulations to our player power rankings players. McBanterface is saying Ox did win. He's 7-0.
Yeah, I think he
Apologies for
just
being
won
out of
today.
date. Okay.
Yeah,
There's-
Ox won. Ox won, and he didn't submit, so the user
Oh,
generated.
got
I'm
it.
not sure that's getting fixed
Yeah.
or not.
It was
Well, then he'll
fixed
probably jump
recently.
right back up there
But
to
make sure,
top 3.
with that topic, make sure you submit your win if you're a winner.
Yeah, that's
Submit
kind of
your stuff.
important. It's a smart thing to do.
Like just do it right after you're done with the match. Just do it then. Don't wait.
That would be smart.
Because I hear rumors of it potentially become a DQ and no contest
wow.
if you miss it before the deadline.
Ooh.
I'm for it.
So definitely get it in.
I'm not gonna say that that's gonna happen, but it is something that's been suggested.
Yeah. Well, I'm not on the board, so I can say whatever I want. It's great.
I agree with Marty.
But yeah, we will see. In any case, the important takeaway
problem.
here is, when you play your match, if you are the winner, make sure you submit your result. It feels good too to submit that you won. What's not to like?
Yeah, but
But
also I just want to mention just so because it's been said, given a no contest, it's really not fair to the other person because let's say they got 2 points, you give them no contest, they don't get any points, and they earned those 2 points. So just something that we're thinking about. The systems are set up in a way where it's kind of hard to just give somebody no points and give somebody 2 points. We need to figure out a better.
good point.
So little inside board conversation.
Interesting.
All right, back to the players themselves. Congratulations to everyone on this list, and any comments, further elaboration on this before we close out our show?
I was just counting up. I think it's cool. You see a pretty much as even split as you can between pink and black here. So I mean, 15 players up there, 8 and 7. So I think that's really shows the overall dominating, even though the standings look that way. There are amazing players in both conferences, both bringing it and both doing extremely well for their teams.
I would like to know, and I guess the playoffs are going to tell if whether or not this is true. Either Pink Conference has 4 strong teams and the rest are weak, or Black Conference is just the weaker conference, or Black Conference is just everybody in Black Conference is really strong. So I want to see what happens in the playoffs. I'm hoping the Black Conference is just really strong, and we've played against strong teams all season. We can maybe get some wins on the Pink Conference teams, but this cross conference play is going to really spice things up.
Yeah, that'll be very interesting to see. Um, I mean, I just think we have loaded players and rosters across, all conferences in pro especially. We've got like GM level players, which is just nutty rosters, like up and down. So, fireworks will happen for sure when we get the best of the best playing against each other in the playoffs, and it's always exciting to see. So we will get to recap that pretty soon. What's not to like? With that, let's head on back over to the caster screen as we give our final words on the night. We're going to start, as we always do, up to my top left first. Marty, take it away. Final words on tonight.
Yeah, so I want to thank Ron. I know this was a bit last minute and kind of scuffed, but it happens to everyone. Really, all the work he puts in.
Oh, you're welcome
Can't.
for making you feel better about that one time that you subbed in for
Yeah,
me and you were like,
just
"Oh, it's a scuff screen." Hey, I do it too.
yeah, I can't overstate how much work you do behind the scenes. With that said, there's a lot to be excited about in THL and outside of THL. A lot of competitive stuff going on. Um, we're still looking for matches for School Stone this weekend, so hit up me or Lotus if you want to be on that. Also, I'm gonna do a shout out for my buddy Get Meowth, my team. He's running a big wild tournament with a $600 prize pool. That's in a few weeks. So if you want to sign up for that, there's a link somewhere in Discord, and I know that he posted on Twitter. So definitely check it out. It's really cool. And if enough people sign up and enough people watch, then we're gonna have more of those tournaments, and Twitch will be supporting them. Okay, this is just like the standard one that Ali Straza ran a while back. So definitely check it out and be supportive. Also, donate. Okay, we're still looking for donations. It's June. We need to hit that $1,000 goal. Mako was a little crazy putting it at $1,000, but
No,
I
super
think
realistic. We can get it.
I think we can get it still. We still have a few more weeks, but let's make it a little bit more in reach ASAP. So donate.
Nice. Well said. All right, Desharmo, final words on the night.
Yeah, this is probably my favorite part of the season, where conferences and series are starting to wrap up, and we're starting to get to that playoffs time, and we start talking about, okay, who's going to make playoffs, and who's going to be waiting till next season. So let's keep up everything that we've been doing. Make sure you turn you turn your classes in or your wins in if you win. Make sure you're submitting all your stuff on time, and let's minimize the DQs. We don't want any DQs. Zero DQs going into the playoffs. We don't want a team to go into the playoffs because somebody got a DQ. That would be very unfortunate. So
Absolutely. All right. Last up, Corridon, final words on the night.
Just thanks for having me out. I absolutely love being on. So anytime I get a chance to fill in, I always will. I love being on the show. Final word really with me is based off of what Marty said. It's also not just the donations. If you feel like you might want something to go towards the donation goal for the Trevor Project, there is the merch link. It's not the absolute most direct way to support. Donations will be the most direct, but you can get some hot, merch like this guy here over on that merch store. Any subs, donations, tips, bits, everything basically that you can donate with or support the stream will be going towards the our goal for this month. So help out in any way you can. We had some last night, and hopefully we can continue on with all the shows that we have.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you, Electric Sheep City, for the command for merch. Another excellent plug that helps support a good cause. With that, that is our show for tonight. We appreciate you bearing with us, with me especially, for some of the more scuffed elements, as it were.
we
But
did have one sub tonight. Thank you, Desharmo, for that sub.
Nice. That's right. I forgot about that. You did that at the very beginning of the stream, like right after the countdown. Desharmo did come in with a sub. What a legend. But with that, that's going to end our show for tonight. Thank you, everybody, for stopping by. We hope you enjoyed it. We love you as always, and have a great rest of your night.